Prioritizing people and progress, moving beyond short-sighted productivity to foster innovation and resiliency. Abstract. This article explores why a sole focus on efficiency can lead to failure for leaders and organizations. Despite efficiency being an important trait, it discusses how an overemphasis on efficiency can result in a lack of flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances, a neglect of human elements like employee well-being and engagement, and a short-sightedness that prioritizes immediate gains over long-term strategic planning. The article then outlines a more balanced leadership approach incorporating flexibility, human-focused strategic vision, and humility alongside efficiency. It provides examples of companies that avoided pitfalls by developing this multifaceted leadership model, underscoring how efficiency is a means to an end rather than the end itself for driving sustainable organizational success. While efficiency is an important trait for leaders, focusing solely on efficiency without also developing other important leadership qualities can actually lead to failure. Today, we will explore why highly efficient leaders fail by covering important leadership concepts from research and providing practical organizational examples. Specifically, we will discuss how over-reliance on efficiency alone can result in a lack of flexibility, ignored human elements, and poor long-term planning. We aim to provide leaders and organizations practical guidance for becoming more effective through balancing efficiency with other crucial leadership attributes. Efficiency alone breeds inflexibility. Being highly focused on efficient operations and outputs can undermine a leader's ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Research has consistently found that the most successful leaders and organizations are those that can reinvent themselves and flex with new realities. Collins and Hansen. 2011. Tushman and O'Reilly, 2002. However, prioritizing efficiency above all else leaves little room to deviate from established routines and processes, even if conditions demand flexibility. This can then lead to failure when realities shift in unexpected ways. For example, one manufacturing company had spent decades perfecting efficient production systems and tight budgets that delivered consistent growth. However, when lower-cost global competitors entered the market, the company struggled to adapt its rigid processes or change strategic direction quickly enough. An over-reliance on the efficiency that previously drove success now proved a hindrance, as the inflexible operations could not adjust to the transformed competitive landscape. Within a few years, market share and profits had declined sharply and the company eventually had to be sold. Human elements are overlooked. Another downfall of leaders who focus solely on efficiency is that they often lose sight of human components within their organizations. Research has shown the importance of considering employees' well-being, engagement, creativity, and development for long-term success. Goffey and Jones. 2016. Pink, 2009. However, prioritizing efficiency above all else can reduce people to mere cogs in a well-oiled machine, rather than valued individuals. For instance, one technology startup founder relentlessly drove for production targets and cost savings, keeping employees working long hours with little autonomy. Innovation and team cohesion suffered as burnout spread. Product quality also began declining due to high turnover rates, as talented staff grew dissatisfied and left. The founder's efficiency-first mindset had undermined the human elements necessary for sustainable growth, ultimately jeopardizing the entire venture. Short-term gains outweigh long-term planning. Perhaps the greatest failure of leaders fixated solely on efficiency is their tendency to favor short-term gains over strategic long-term planning. Research underscores how focusing too narrowly on immediate productivity or financial results often comes at the expense of future readiness. Christensen. 1997. Cotter, 2012. However, efficiency-obsessed leaders are prone to constantly optimize short-term outputs rather than proactively preparing their organizations for looming changes. For example, one retail conglomerate had relied for decades on efficient, just-in-time, inventory systems, and outsourced manufacturing to maximize quarterly profit margins. But its singular fixation on efficiency left no slack or capacity to transition operations when e-commerce disrupted traditional retail. Within a few short years, once dominant physical stores had ceased being cost-effective. Yet the conglomerate lacked alternative revenue streams or business models to fall back on. Its poor long-term strategic perspective ultimately led to its demise. Developing a balanced approach. The above examples illustrate how taking efficiency too far as the sole leadership priority can cause failure, even for once highly successful organizations. To avoid such pitfalls, research suggests leaders must develop a more nuanced, balanced approach incorporating other crucial attributes alongside efficiency. Collins, 2001. Goldman, 2000. Some keys include flexibility. Leaders must proactively scan environments, learn from failures, and empower teams to experiment and reinvent processes as needed. Human focus. Prioritizing employee well-being, continuous learning. Empowerment and collaboration fosters innovation, quality, and long-term sustainability. Strategic vision. Proactively scenario plan and allocate resources to positioning the organization for foreseeable future contexts beyond the next quarter. Humility. Effective leaders understand their own strengths and limitations, welcome diverse perspectives, and adapt mindsets over time. For example, one global logistics company shifted from a pure efficiency culture by instilling flexibility through self-managed collaborative project teams. It also improved employee experiences through coaching, wellness programs, and leadership development initiatives. These balanced changes enhanced not only productivity, but also innovation, talent retention, and readiness for industry transformations. Conclusion: efficiency remains a valuable leadership trait, but solely relying on it to the exclusion of other qualities often proves an organization's downfall. The most impactful leaders develop a more holistic, balanced approach incorporating flexibility, human focus, strategic vision, and humility alongside efficiency. This allows organizations to maximize outputs in the short term without neglecting future adaptability. Staff well-being or long-range planning, all critical for enduring success. Most importantly, leaders must recognize efficiency is a means to an end, not the end itself. With a more balanced mindset and culture, even highly efficient organizations can avoid potential pitfalls and thrive over the long run.